Okay, so I was just lying on the sofa, just trying to chill out. I've had some very intense sessional work today, and whenever I'm trying to relax and there's something I'm meant to be channeling, really weird stuff starts happening to me in my body. I start getting strange sensations. I feel all this head pressure. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So there's something that's meant to be coming through right now, and that's fine. Just get up off the sofa. It's all good. So obviously it's Mercury retrograde. It's also eclipse season. Now I don't know about everybody else, but the last couple of days I had a total breakthrough yesterday, but the 2 days preceding that I was deep in my underworld, deep down within it, retrieving lost parts of myself. And I feel like that's very much the theme of this, you know, the solar eclipse occurring within Aries. It's all about self-worth. It's all about, you know, Aries is the holy child. It's all about those parts of us that we have rejected, and yeah, often this takes place within childhood. We learn that certain parts of us are not, we deem them unworthy of love because maybe the adults around us have deemed them unworthy of love, or, you know, however consciously or unconsciously this has occurred. So yeah, that's just a very prominent theme at the moment. So just allowing for those parts to come up, for those parts to be retrieved within us. You know, this is like a time of like a collective kind of soul retrieval that's occurring. And, you know, I always think, you know, for me personally with the eclipse, it's like it shines this light on things that you don't want to look at, or things that you're kind of more, you have like a certain level of resistance to, or your kind of main you know, your the sort of forefront of your consciousness is kind of more willing to overlook your shadow aspect, you know. And so you know, I even think it's interesting how when you view the eclipse, that's what it looks like. It's like a shadow around it, and, you know, almost being illuminated. And so, you know, as above, so below, this is exactly what's happening. Yeah, this is exactly what's happening to us on the etheric plane as well. And so yeah, there's just a lot of really deep collective clearing of the deep collective unconsciousness. And I always think with Mercury retrograde as well, that there's this kind of theme that I have personally noticed, which is like, when you don't deal with something in the previous retrograde, it comes back around. So I've noticed this in my personal life before, and certainly when I wasn't as kind of on top of my healing work, my inner work, but I was still kind of in tune with astrology and things like that. I would very much notice like, oh shit, I didn't deal with that last retrograde and now it's come back. You know, it's like, it's not only X's that come back around during Mercury retrograde, it's also patterns of behavior which come up to be acknowledged. And yes, very much a lot of this can come up to be witnessed within communication, because Mercury is a planet associated with communication, and so it's very much that's how it can be observed within us. And so what is communication? It's all about our relationships, not only with ourselves but with the other people around us too. And so when you have this eclipse and this Mercury retrograde happening together, for me, what is signifying is all about how we communicate with ourselves, how we communicate with these broken, or, you know, broken's a strong word, but you know, aspects of us which maybe feel broken or feel sort of beyond repair and in pain and all of that kind of stuff. And being able to express that is such an important part of that release. And they're also saying, I've received this message before, and I actually think, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm sure this came through in one of the last Mercury retrogrades, but listening to the sound, you know, there's that saying that's like, oh, they just love the sound of their own voice, that kind of saying. There's actually something very, very healing about listening to the sound of your own voice. And I know a lot of people have a kind of aversion to hearing their own voice. And for years, I was exactly like that. But then being a poet and a performer and things like that, I've had to see my own stuff back so many times that now I don't, it doesn't bother me in the same way that it used to. But you can record yourself talking, listening to that sound, because that's your tone, that's your frequency, that's the sound of your soul in a sense, you know. It's like that carries all of the data that your soul holds, you know. And you'll notice, like, you know, when somebody goes through a really, really big, deep shift, integrates a certain part of themselves, all of that kind of stuff, their voice, you will hear a different tone in their voice, you know. People, you know, when you shift certain levels of density out, you can perceptibly hear that, you know. So even after like fasting, juice cleanses, things like that, I've noticed changes, you know, within my voice. So when we go through these really, really deep shifts, yeah, it can really be kind of transformative, and that's reflected within the sound of your voice. And so that can be a really, really good thing to do. It's almost just like creating this new level of like comfortability within who you are, and a level of acceptance as well, and a really good way to observe, you know. It's like when you hear that sound, it's like, what are all the thoughts that are coming up within you? What are all the thoughts that you're hearing? Is it like, oh, I sound so stupid, oh, I sound, you know, my voice, I don't like, you know, I sound too high or I sound too low, or whatever it is. These are really good things to pay attention to, because this is almost like the layer of subconscious programming that you have in like resistance to yourself and to who you are. So it can be a really, really powerful way to transmute that and just come into like this deep level of acceptance around who you are, because your voice is like such a big part of that, you know. Like our voices are so distinctive, and I think they say so much about us without actually in a way that isn't necessarily verbal, if that makes sense, but in a way that is it's felt, you know. It's more kind of received through like clairsentience or something like that, you know. It isn't just audible. It's like you can feel it, you know. Those people that have like those super velvety voices, it's like you feel it, you know. It's warm. It's like yes, you know, there's so many different singers that have, you know, such different voices, such different ways that they such different ways that they communicate through their vocal cords. So yeah. Isha fa nya so yatinyan to rotanyan nomokianata Itha kua sonya no kiara namayanya toranya namakian yotonan yotonok onyan no kotanyan tintian tanto urana. This is a shamanic guide that I've been working with recently, and they're just like so deep and profound. And you know, what they're saying is like your soul is your voice, is like, it's like your soul, it's your essence, you know. It's how you ripple across the universe, it's how you spread your message. It is the archetype of the prophet, you know. It's your voice. It's so powerful, and when you learn to love that sound, it's like the ripple that creates within your field, you know. It's just when you have that love resonance for your own tones, for your own harmonics. I feel like a broken record. I feel like I always say this. But yeah, that's just very much what he's sharing is like that deep love for that. It's yeah, just so beautiful. Yomokia asonya natoki antaru. Also seeing parrots. Oh my god, parrots, and they're all about talking. Oh my god, love that. I was like, I see a parrot really, really vividly right now. So yeah, so they're obviously all about mimicry and talking. So yeah, I feel like the message of this video is like, get used to your voice, like using your voice. Like, are you singing? Like, how are you using your voice? Like mantras, like all of that stuff. Like, yeah, oh my God. Yito oso ya sho oshona noya nuko anyo noto karan nyamaya inya moko ana noya sha ru ya tu ya yatakaranya no makya. Yeah, it's like this is our mouth is this portal, you know, through which we can birth, through which we can create. It's like the vibration of the vocal cords rubbing together to express this thing. Like what this guide is saying is like it's like the most sacred process, you know, and we take it for granted, and we, you know, we don't honor our ability to speak, our ability to be heard, our ability to listen, our ability to like exchange through the medium of the voice. I actually had a really profound experience. This would have been a couple of years ago, and I was connecting with this kind of very galactic, kind of, but very, very tribal, very, you know, there's so much similarity in what we term galactic with, you know, earth and traditions and things like that. This is so intertwined and interconnected, but these a group from Orion, and there was a leader of the or ambassador of this probably could call them a race, but you know, a group of beings from Orion. And what they were saying to me was like, you know, at the time I was having real trouble kind of using my voice, speaking up for myself, and like fear of how I would be received, you know, and what they said to me, and it stuck with me so much. They were like, when you need to speak, you must speak. Like, it's, you know, and what they were kind of saying was like, for us in our community, you just speak. If your soul has something to share, it has something to share, and you speak. You don't, there's no, oh, should I say this? How's it going to be received? Oh, what are people going to think of me if I say this? There's none of that. You just speak. You know, and he was very like commanding, like the presence, you know. It was like, if you need to speak, you must speak. That's it. That's just how it goes. It's no second thought, you know. So I feel like that's a very kind of poignant message that I want to just close this video on. And a little bit of light language coming through just to close out. Isha fuata nyanto anto yitok onyan tok onyan. Ya musokoya se oraya or titanaman nyanto ka anyan taya rotea she se te echek ora. Yomotokan yanta rotokan yan nyotetek yanda korasa. Okay. So thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. And yeah, take care. Look after yourself.